Welcome back. I've been on a 2-month hiatus, but we are building a game from scratch using Love2d and Lua. We're building this little game here with a little magic caster, and we've got some corrupted geckos here. And you cleanse them with the fire, and they can hit you and whatever. That's where we're at. Starting today, I want to take a more serious look at the length and longevity of this game, because I want it to be released eventually, and I think I need to start taking it more seriously for the grand scheme of the game. Like, how are we realistically gonna have all the maps built out? Because right now, all these maps are built out literally by typing each square. So if we take a look at our code for what's telling us where we're going to spawn the squares, I believe it's in map declarations. Let's see, it's not in map declarations. This is how we're doing it right now, which is we literally hard code it. Well, I don't know if you can do, well, I guess you can do more than 1 month at a time. Twitch, I guess they do kind of offer like a little bit of a discount if you do more than once, but stuff like how AKA Bob says he's subscribed for 4 months, you kind of just subscribe on a per month basis, and then if I'm not live streaming by the time it renews, Twitch will remember that and kind of queue you up next time that person's streaming, and you can share that, hey, I've been a subscriber for 4 months. Even though it's not like on the day, Twitch kind of banks it so that you can come into the stream like AKA Bob did and said, hey, he's a supporter for 4 months now, whatever. And then you get little badges. So like if you're a subscriber, you get the little, you have the option to do the Jimmy badge next to your name. You also, if you're one of the first 10, you get this first founder badge. So AKA Bob's got that, and so does Soup and Super King, and I forget who else has it. I've got a couple. Meese, I think, has it. Meese Games. But you get, there you go, Bart Knocker. Thank you for the sub. Yo, I appreciate that, dude. So you can now, like, if you're gonna go in chat or whatever, you can choose your badge as the first founder badge. So like it'll show you this first founder badge next to your name. It might do it automatically for you, but I'm not exactly sure. But only 10, I think if you make Twitch partner, you get another 10 founder badges or something like that, but you basically only have 10 founder badges. So I think we only got 2 founder badges left at this point. So, right? I'll tell some jokes and make sure you get your money's worth. But yeah, you know what, I can show you guys what I've been up to. Maybe I'll wait if Super King comes, because I know he'd want to see my capstone project. But I can show you my capstone project. Maybe once, if Soup stops by, I'll show you guys all at once. But as far as the game's going here, I want to, we're hard coding in, you know, all those maps, and if we want to do anything different, you know, we have to manually type in what sprite we want where. So in the Discord, actually, one of our friends shared a link to a tool for Love2d for painting out the maps. So I'm gonna see if we can start migrating my system, which my system again is this, where I say map 1, 2, and then I manually write out the hard-coded enums for which sprites are going where. Instead of doing that, there's a method where there's this tool called tiled for Love2d, and you can kind of paint with your tile set so that you can build out potentially 100 screens, because right now we do have 100 screens. We have a 10 by 10. So instead of having to kind of manually type this and remember, oh, okay, 4 down to the right, it needs to be a brick so that we can walk on the same path, going screen to screen. Instead of doing that, we'll just paint it out using the tile set from tiled, I'm hoping that'll work. The only thing I'm a little unsure about is how it's going to work with the scene transitions, because as you start a scene transition, it scrolls the old one off and the new one on. So I'm not sure how Tiled is going to handle that. So we're going to have to do some practice with that. And the other thing Tiled allows you to do is, if you look at the corners of this tree, they've got this yellow color to it when it should be the green grass beneath it. It's just that since it's a square, I made it yellow there, which is how Link's Awakening is. But on Tiled, you can give it a transparent background there, so that if we put a tree over some sand, you'd see the sand behind it. If you see some, you know, if you put grass behind there, you'd see grass behind it. So a little more friendly for the rendering, because you can do little layers like that. Whereas this current method I've got doesn't have any ability to do that. So I think a good next step for the game is to try and figure out if Tiled is a good solution, because then we can just draw our dungeons as if it's like, you know, painting with our tile set, and we can just draw map locations, test it out in game, give us all the collidable objects. Not exactly sure how that's working, because right now we are hard coding in the collidable map objects as well, so that we can't walk through the tree or stump here. So we'll have to see, but today is probably going to be trying to go over Tiled, and then after that I want to work on maybe an NPC and maybe a dialogue system. I won't get to that today, but I think next steps, because I'm trying to get the most bang for our buck in terms of the development here, so that we can start to actually build out levels, right? So it's like, it's nice we've got 100 levels we can walk to, but they're all random sand right now. So if we could change that to just be some art that we draw on the fly, it'll start to look a lot more like a game. And then if we have NPCs we can talk to, then we can start building out the story of the game. So there's a bug here where I'm just walking up forever. I don't know what causes that, but I do know that he always seems to do that if I hold multiple inputs at once while I'm kind of going off to different screens. But that's something we can figure out. I did release an executable for this current state of the game up on the GitHub, so if you want to download that, I think I made an executable for Windows, Mac, and Linux. So if you have any of those systems, you can download it and play without having to download the game engine, which is kind of cool. But we also have a Git that I did not commit making this new level for that executable, so I'll probably end up committing this because all I do, it looks like, is take off I take off my health render, I add the title and take off the FPS, and then I change that map 1-2. I move some animatables on that second page, and then I take off full screen, take off FPS. So I'm going to go ahead and add all that and commit with a message. And this is going to be commit for the, what do we call it? Demo build for PWP, my personal website project. Cool. So we've got that. Now we're up to date in Git. So let's go ahead and take a look at my notes for Tiled. So one of the viewers here, hey Quest, hey, good to see you, dude. It's fun seeing you in chat here. I appreciate you checking in. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, we are trying to build a game here in the style of Link's Awakening, so that's what we're working on. That giant gecko I dumped on your stream yesterday, or the other day, is actually my gecko, but I put him in the game here, so there's geckos here. So this is the pixel art version of my gecko Jimmy. And the big one I left on your stream the other day was my real gecko's face. So you got to see him the other day. But yeah, we're working on some new stuff for the game. So yeah, big shout out to Arash on Discord. He sent us the link for this repository for this tile map editor that we're going to try out here. So we're going to try it and see if it gets us what we want. And so the idea is this allows you to draw your pixel map and then export it as a .lua, which Lua and Love2d reads. So at that point, you can just import it into the project and it handles all those layers and rendering and stuff for you. So this is the tool we're going to try, and then, you know, if it works, great. If it doesn't work, we'll probably figure something else out, because manually building out 100 levels just by typing what sprite enum we want is probably not the best way to go about it. So we'll start here. Okay, so we've got tiled open. We're gonna import our tile set. New tile set. I don't think this is right. I think we do a new map. Yeah, okay. So our game is 10 tiles across and 8 tiles down, but 1 tile's reserved for the HUD. And when you're down transitioning, you're gonna see that bottom tile that is kind of invisible. So I think we have a 10 wide by 9 tall. So we're gonna do that 10 wide by 9 tall. And we're 16 by 16 pixels. Okay, that looks about right. 160 by 144. I think that is Game Boy resolution. It's been a while, but I think that's right. Do we test this? I think that's right. Let me just Google real quick. Game Boy resolution. Yeah, 160 by 144. That looks right. Okay. Sweet. That looks about right. Okay, so at this point, I have where you save a test map as a TMX. So let's do that. Save as. We'll save it. I don't know if I think I want to save it just in documents instead of the actual repo for now, until we figured it out. So tiled maps. We'll call it test map TMX. Cool. So we've got a TMX file, and we're gonna go ahead and import our tile set now. So we'll pull it in from our repo, which will be our Tashio graphics. Should be Atlas, right? Test sprites. Master sheet, I think that's what I call it. Okay. Now we're gonna embedded map. I don't know what that means, but that was what my tutorial told me to do, so we'll follow that. Cool, there's our tile set. Yeah, it looks like it's got a bunch of them. And then we're gonna do what? Export test map inside maps folder. Okay. Okay, so I think at this point we can draw. So how this works is like we can take this stamp tool. I'll make this a bit bigger so we can see. No? How do I make bigger? Here we go. Way too big. There's no fit? There's no fit option? Okay. So if this is our map, we can just pick our grass and kind of paint the sprite sheets like this. So that's going to be hopefully a lot easier than typing out, you know, all the stuff. So we will probably have to, oh my gosh, yeah, this is going to be so much better. Because imagine developing 100 levels without something like this. Especially when we start to add puzzles and everything, we want some ability to make complex things and test things out and redo stuff. So it is kind of cool that we can paint like this now. This won't cover our collidable map objects, so we'll have to figure that out, but this would be very easy to place visually, and then we can manually kind of place the collidable map objects as we go. So that is cool. So this is just a little test for how this might work. It's a lot easier than typing it out manually. So I'm hoping we can make this work, especially because we can get away with transparency here. So that, look, if I put this chunk here in the sand, see how it's grass background when it should be like sand background. So what we can do is have like a neutral sand, paint that first, make a new layer, put a tree stump with a transparent background on it, and it'll layer it like that instead of the grass overlapping. So I'm thinking that can be really cool. So I'm just gonna paint a little more, and then we'll try to export this and see what that's like to import it into our game. So we just have this built out hut. Cool. So let's see if we can export this. We're gonna go ahead and export testmap.lua in the maps folder. So we're gonna go ahead and export as, it should be a .lua. Okay. So if we go into our repo and we go into graphics, we'll make a folder called tiled, I guess. Graphics tiled. And then we will put our testmap.lua in here, hopefully. So that looks like it was fairly easy. If we go check out our graphics tiled, we have a testmap.lua. So it looks like that worked. Yep, it did save as a .lua, so I'm actually kind of curious what this might look like. Okay. How does it know? I don't know how it's knowing which tile set we're using. Oh, it says right here, master sheet. It knows, it imported it. Okay. That's pretty smart. That's pretty smart that it knew that. Okay, so it still references the master sheet because it has to, and then it just paints it. Basically, how we're doing it. We're doing it manually, except all these number enums are a code that I converted into a text. So instead of me typing out the text, the program just types out the numbers that the text corresponds to, and that's what we're doing. So at the end of the day, it's doing the same exact thing we're doing. So I'm hoping we can get the screen transitions working with this. That would be huge, because then we can develop, you know, dungeons and more levels for us to actually explore. There are 100 squares for us to explore right now, but they're all sand, so we want to change that. So we've got the test map Lua exported. Now we need this tiled implementation repo here. And this is made by who? A bunch of contributors, 50 contributors. Arise 17. Let's see. Let's just download this. So this is the part where if you're not careful browsing the web, you can get an STI. And that's exactly what we're looking for. This STI folder. And then we'll put this into our repo so we have access to it. I'll put it in my library folder. There is an STI that we've got now. So the STI is what converts the tiled Lua file into the actual art, I'm pretty sure. So this is how we're actually going to be able to give commands like draw to the map object that tiled exported. So we'll go ahead and see what that does. We copied the STI folder into library, and then this is all you have to do to use it. It looks like that, very simple. So we'll give it a shot. We'll try it here. If we look at this, let's go, would we want to go into our main? We want it in our love.load, so we'll just do it here. We'll do it before push, I guess. And in our load, we'll say STI. How do we do it? STI gets require, and then give it the file path. And our file path was lib, just like knife was. And you know what? We should probably do it in our dependencies folder where we're importing knife as well. So it's just lib STI. So we'll find where we're doing it for knife, and we'll just place it alongside knife. So let's find out where that is. I think it is in dependencies. Let's see. Yes. Do we have knife in here somewhere? Knife event. Yeah, okay. So we'll do it here. We'll say STI global variable gets require the library lib, and then it'll be slash STI. Cool. So now we have access to STI library, and what we will do is make a map 1, which I don't like that we'd have to make 100 of these, but if that's what it takes to get, you know, get stuff working. We can make a macro that can generate this all for us, so I'm not too worried about that. But maps, and we didn't put it in maps, we put it where? We put it in graphics, tiled, test map. So we'll go to that location here, graphics, tiled. It'll be graphics, tiled, and test map.lua. I don't think the .lua is necessary. We'll try it without it, but we'll see. Hey Magnetonics, what's up, dude? Hey, good to see ya. We're trying to implement a library to draw our each map quad of our game. Right now we manually do it by writing in all the enums for what it's looking for. I don't know what crashed us here. It says what? Dependencies symbol expected. We forgot this. Okay. Let's see. Okay, we don't crash at least. So we've got a little game here, and we're manually. Yeah, ignore that. I was. We shouldn't be able to walk through a post like that, but that's because I was testing out this level for a demo build for my website. So we're kind of manually writing in all the codes for these, but we're trying to use this tiled, which allows us to draw and import it into our game so that we don't have to manually type out which tile goes where, because there's probably up to 100 squares of levels we're gonna make. Taking a break from making concept art in my game. Art is not your strong suit. It takes a lot out of you. Okay, yeah. Art is not easy. I'm doing the pixel art route because there's only 16 pixels high I gotta worry about, which on some aspect makes it easier, and then some aspect makes it harder. Like it took us like 3 episodes to get our main character developed. and we ripped off most of it from Link's Awakening, but yeah. It's nice that, like, I wanted to just focus on game stuff, so I was like, if I make a Game Boy game, I can not spend so much time on the art and work on actually building a more complex game. So that was kind of my tactic. But I use Sprite for all the pixel art. It turns out pretty good. I like that tool. They have a lot of good previewing for the animations and everything, and looping, and they have good support for that, for pixel art. So I recommend that if you're doing pixel art, but I'm sure you've already got a workflow. Thanks for stopping in, Magneton. It's cool to see you. We got, the last thing we got to do is now take that STI object and then go ahead and just render it. So we can see how we're rendering our level and maybe see how we're handling that. If we look at our play state, bottom of the screen. Okay, see how we're rendering our map entities, locations. Okay, that's for the debugging. It's for our keylogger. Where do we render our scene? So I know we're doing this a little backwards. Like we've got, oh, here we go, scene view render. So everything but the player should be this scene view render. So what I'm going to try to do is, outside of the scene view render, I'm going to see if we can render our game map. This should be that .lua file we told that we just tested drawing and tiled, and it should render it over the scene view since we're leaving that on. So I'm going to see. It didn't seem to do that. So there might be another order of operations we're missing on. Not exactly sure. Nice. Okay, yeah, that's cool. I hope you found some good artists to work with for that, because there's some great people out there. And monster designs are really tough with pixel art, for sure. I was just playing Animal Well, and they have some amazing crazy monster designs, like wild stuff. Okay, so I'm not sure this is rendering in our play state. If we take out our scene view render, let's see if just our background disappears, right? Yeah, our player comes out too, because our player's in our scene view. Okay, so maybe in the scene. Maybe we go into the scene and render the map here. I don't exactly know. Let's take a look at we look at what our scene view is. Now I was like bullshitting a lot of this, so I'm sure this is not the best way to do it, but this is what I figured out how to work. The scene view is what I'm calling the current thing you're looking at, right? So like the current square you're looking at, that's the scene, and the scene holds all the map stuff, all the entities, and your player. But then when you walk off, only the scene scrolls off and your player scrolls into the next scene. So a scene is both what's currently on the screen plus a reference to the next thing that's coming onto the screen once you initiate a scene transition. So it might be the render we're looking for might be in the scene, not the play state. So that's what's a little confusing with this, because our program's already pretty big. Like we've got a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm gonna take a look at the scene. We'll see what's in there. Now we've got I'm going to minimize this. yeah, so a scene has the player, it has the location on the maps, it has a table of entities, has spellcast entities, it has the transition triggers for the event listeners, it has the shifting transition logic, it has the finish shifting logic, and it's got the math for the spellcast fire entities. That should probably not be in here. And then, okay, here. Okay, self-current map render. So if we take out the current map render, we should only see a map if we walk off screen, which is the case. And then as soon as it's done with the transition, it cuts out. Okay, so that's what we're trying to replace with the corresponding map that we just exported, right? So the current map needs to be turned into the game map draw. Now that should be only... It did it. It did it. That was the one we drew. Now it still has the collidable map objects in the wrong spot, right? So like here's the tree that used to be there. So that's what I was saying, like we still do have to figure that out. Here's the stump of the old one, but we were able to export this whole draw we just did, so that's really cool. There's the cabin. Okay, there we go. Okay, nice. So what we have to do, the scene transitions still work, but they work with the hard-coded stuff. So we've got to... Oh gosh, I'm getting murdered by geckos. Okay, so we're in Sandland now. So the tricky thing with this is we have to tell our game... Yeah, we have to tell our game, hey, this map object is just one section. It's the 1-1, right? If we go, we're in map 4-2 now, but the top left would be 1-1, you know? So we've got all the way through 10-10, so this should be the very first screen. So we can't walk any further up than this. There's a fence here that we're not seeing, but we can't walk past 1-1. So we need a way to tell our .map Lua that says like, oh, hey, this test map 1 is actually the 1-1 map. A lot like how we're manually doing it here, except we don't have to manually declare where each sprite is. So we look at here, we need a way to say that this .lua file is now this thing. Because we need all of the other map.luas to become the map that scrolls onto screen once we initiate that transition. So right now we're importing the test map we did as game map, but we need to set, okay, I got an idea. We can literally set, like how we're doing this, well, yeah, hear me out. Let's say we had a tiled map object, right? Tiled map, and it is it's a table, but it's a table of tables. I think for now we can literally just do, no, yeah, we do need a 2D array in here. So there is, just like this, oh yeah, we need to do this for our tiled map. So what we're gonna do is, instead of populating our map, we'll probably rename it to map, but we'll call it tiled map as we test this out. We're gonna go through and loop through our tiled map, you know, for every height, we're gonna go through, and I am just very clumsy on my shortcuts. For every height, we're going to go ahead and insert an empty table, and then for every width in that height, we're going to go ahead and insert an empty table. So we have that 2D array. And then... Oh, and you guys, if you like game stuff, Magnetonics is developing his own game, so go give him a follow if you aren't already. And he plays games too. I've found some cool games on his channel. Okay. This is very simple. We're just giving us a 2D array for every map location. Now I need to change these so that we're actually going through our tiled map and inserting our tiled map here. So tiled map. Cool. So we should have a 2D array of empty tables. And then my idea here is we just manually assign the map object to, yeah, how do we do this? So like, we know the arithmetic to index the correct map because we're doing it already with this map stuff. So if we're in map 1-1 and we go right, we need to go to 2-1. 2 columns, same row. So if we put our map.luas all in order in this tiled map 2D array, we can then say, hey, go ahead and render the game map at the current X and Y of the scene, and then on the transition, depending on what transition it is, set the next map to be the tiled map at the next index. Whatever needs to happen to scroll it, either from the bottom, from the right, from the left. So we might be able to do that. So we would need something to test this, but first of all, I'm gonna try to manually insert and see if this will work. So like I'm trying to say, hey, by the way, tiled map at 1-1 is actually going to be assigned to our game map, which was our test. And then I want to see if we can render this global tiled map with a dot draw. I think we would be able to, so let's try it. That was in our scene, I believe. Yeah. So instead of this game map dot draw or colon draw, I want to see if we can do tiled map 1-1 colon draw. If this works, then I think we're going to be in business. Didn't like it. Map declarations. Maybe we fucked up our for loops. Because it didn't fail here, it failed in our map declarations. Feels good to be back streaming. It was a long 10 weeks of class. Game map, tiled map 1-1 gets, okay. Do. What is it not like? Line 22 doesn't like this for some reason. We lost out on a parentheses. Okay. Let's see. Yo, it worked. It worked. So we should be able to, if we rename this instead of game map, rename it map 1-1. We can save our 1-1 drawing here, and then we'll save 1-2 as the one right next to it. We'll have to get rid of all these map collidables, reinsert that. That'll still be a bitch, but this is fast for prototyping the levels. It would be nice if we could get the collidables working. We might have to do that. If I was able to get this far in just one evening with the maps, I think we can figure out a way to export a heat map of all the collidable map objects as well. So we'll have to kind of take a look at how we're doing that and then see, because it might be as simple as we make a new layer and we draw all the collidable. Here, I got an idea for that. Like, it would be if we open up tiled again, like imagine a new layer, object layer, exactly that, an object layer, and we say, you know, we've got a stamp or something. How do we do this? Okay, maybe that's not what I want. New layer, let's say it's a, I feel like it would be an object layer, but let's see if we called this objects just as a proof of concept. Like we would map, you know, we draw over everything you can't walk over, right? So you can't walk over any of this. And then we export this as a collidable map. And then this is what we go and use instead of our collidable map objects, because yeah, the way we're doing it pretty ghetto, to be honest, right now. If we look at how we're doing it, I'm doing it, wow, yeah. I mean, it's kind of, I don't want to say clever how I'm doing it, but it's definitely like I thought this through before, which is why I orchestrated this in a specific way. Because if we look at our master sheet, we have all our collidable objects in very specific rows. So all the collidable objects are in these 2 rows, or these 5 rows. So I've blocked out all these for collidable map objects. And basically, as we insert them, I say, hey, if it's a value in between, you know, with a Y of in between these 2 values, then I know it's a collidable object. Which gets the point across if we're doing a huge mapped tiled sheet like this, but we've got to figure it out. This is going to be much better, because then we can pick we can pick arbitrary stuff to be non-walkable over. So this is going to be what we want to do. Yeah, I would want to see if we have to do an object thing like that, or how that works. I don't exactly know how this stuff exports. I just know that the STI we got earlier in the episode is helping us render this stuff. So that is definitely next on the list. We'll add it. Let's see if we can get a plus sign of maps, right? So like if we have a map where we have a center and we have a square up, a square down, a square left, a square right for us to walk to, and if we can export all those from tiled, and we can export and we can tell the game, hey, if you walk right, go ahead and add your X arithmetic positively. If you move left, subtract the X arithmetic. Up, subtract Y arithmetic. Then if we can get that going, then I think we're good enough to start migrating our whole map system over to tiled. So we'll take a look at that. Let's go ahead and try to make a little plus sign of walkable stuff. So we'll go see that. So ideally I'd be able to say like, hey, this map here is one portion of a 10 by 10, and we can draw out and export them, or like have the whole image as one, but only export certain maps. So I'm kind of curious if I can do that. Project. I closed the project window. Terrain fill mode. This is a cool tool. I don't know where my project window went. I closed it. Now it's gone. See, tile collision shapes. Auto mapping rules, tile set. I don't know what that means. Oh, there we go. There's our properties. Where does it say that this is test map? TMX, like where's that? Because ideally I'm wanting the all 100 tiles on screen at once, and we can just paint the whole thing at once if we wanted. Was it Jersey? Jersey ate it? Okay. Not exactly sure. You know, and then as I'm coming back to streaming, I'm trying to decide if I want to do only exclusive game dev stuff, or if I want to maybe do some website development stuff as well. I'm kind of torn between. I kind of just want to do game dev stuff on the channel, but I feel like my web dev stuff will start to atrophy because I'll be focused on game stuff instead. So I don't know. Jersey will take it for the team. She's good. She's good at that. Blame her for everything. Okay, let's try to make a new map. Fixed, infinite. Yeah, infinite, what the hell? Now we could make... Yeah, see, it's just that our game is only rendered one tile at a time, one scene at a time, so I feel like we do have to do a fixed thing, but see how we can't see where the left side of the last thing we just drew was? So I'm gonna see if we can do like a new map, and maybe it's, let's say, infinite. Really is infinite. Yeah, but it's got those squares. So that's what I'm wanting. Like, I'm wanting to hopefully say, I'm hopefully able to say, hey, all of this stuff, that is map 1-1 or whatever, you know? Oh my God, this really is, I don't want infinite. I don't want infinite. I selected it, but I didn't want that. Let's kill that. I want to say that this new map is fixed, and it'd be 10 times bigger. So all it would be is 100 tiles wide and 90 tiles. Oh no, that's wrong. Well, no, in the grand scheme of things, let's see, yeah. So that looks like our total game area at the moment. That looks a little small. Yeah, we might need to fix that. But this is just the proof of concept. I'm gonna see, like, if we can export one tile like this, like if we can say, hey, this right here, we can say this is map 2-2, and we can export that as a .lua. import it into our stuff, then, oh yeah, Sypha's not liking the thunder either. If we can do that, but I don't know if this allows us to like export selection. I don't know. I really don't know. Because ideally we have it painted here so that we can see the stuff next to itself, right? Like as we draw. So if we pull in our master sheet, then we can start drawing and we can use the fill tool and boom, we got grass everywhere. And then maybe we say we've got, can we not do that? Select that. Oh, wow. Perfect, man. Look at that. That's exactly what I'm looking for. So yeah, if we can put trees, this is going to be powerful, man. If we can figure out how to do this. So instead of putting trees, I'll put trees there. Or you know what? What we'll do is kind of mimic, like, you know, this is the left square, this is the up square, this is the down square, this is the right. That way we can test in the game, you know, which square we're on, and then, you know, this is the top right, this is top left, bottom right. We'll see if we can get these working in our current game setup, and if we can, we're going to migrate all the map system over to this. What is a thunder shirt? Is it just like a big weighted blanket or what? This would be huge if this could work. But what I don't think they have this ability to export only a selection as a map. So like if we could do this and say, hey, this is map 2.2. Let's try this file. Export as, this will be called 22.lua in our tiled. Let's see what that did. Oh, yeah. See, it didn't, it exported everything. Okay. Yeah, like a Hannibal Lecter sort of deal. I mean, I don't like this. But in the grand scheme of things, if we just have one map object, but then how do we know where to draw it? I feel like if we import this 2.2, I mean, it's really everything. I feel like the only map that'll show is this top left. And then nothing else will ever work for it. But let's see, let's try to bring it in and see. Because on one hand, it's like, yeah, why don't we just export the whole map as one thing and then handle the arithmetic to shift the window viewport or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. This is good stuff to figure out now though, because this is important. So let's say that instead of the game map, our dependencies is actually right here. Instead of test map.lua, we're actually rendering to 2.lua. Let's see. I'm thinking it's just the top left tree. Oh, it takes so much longer to load. It is just the top left tree. It takes a while to load, but it is loading. See, and this is kind of one reason I wanted to do it the way I did it. Because you don't need to load the whole map. You just need to load the current map. Like, why are we loading the 100th map on the bottom right when all we're looking at is the very top left corner? Okay, so maybe I don't like this, but maybe Yeah, maybe the move is like, maybe we can have this map as a global paint session, and then what we do is say, okay, we're ready to go test 2.2. So we go here and we say file, new project, new map. We say it's fixed and it's a 10 by 9. And then we can say, oh, I'm so glad that worked. We were able to copy it. So we were able to copy it so we can paint and see how, like, grand scheme of things, how the levels connect. And then we can highlight and export each square individually so that we don't have that big loading time of waiting for all 100 tiles to be loaded. So let's try this. Let's say that, hey, this is going to be exported as 2.2. This is 2.2. Go ahead and replace it. Then we want, let's just go down the line. We'll try to snag them all. So this is going to be, what is going on, man? This one. Okay. This is 1.1, so we'll say not that. We'll say file, new map, and this will be 1.1. File, export as 1.1. There's probably a better way to do this, but we're figuring it out. So this is 2.2. There's no, yeah, there really is no export as just for that. Wish there was, but new map. Say this is I think the top map is all ones. We can double check. Okay, yeah, top is all one. So this will be 1.2. Yeah, I mean, this gets messy too, but the idea is if we can get collisions working with this too, it would be not so bad. It's better than my current system, right? Like, typing it in manually is not fun. So 1.3. And then there is 2.1. This is, what, 9 tall? Yeah, 9 tall. Okay, that should be right. I don't get why there's like one more square that looks is right. It's like, yeah, why? Oh, no. I think we jacked that up. No, it looks like, oh yeah, it is wrong. This is wrong. Shit. It's okay. This is just a proof of concept. We got 2.1. We already got 2.2, so let's go for 2.3. This is just testing out the tool and seeing if we're going to be using this moving forward. So make a new map. And this is right. 2.3. Yeah. Export as 2.3. So ideally, these Lua files are going to be inserted into the maps. at the same location. So like just like how we're rendering the tiled map 1, 1, we need to insert each of these corresponding maps into that 2D array, and then we can just render the current map. And that also gives us the ability to calculate that arithmetic for the off-screen transitions, so that instead of loading 100 pages, which took that, you know, took a couple seconds to compile there or get interpreted, instead of that, all it has to ever do is load the current scene, and as soon as the scene transition starts, it'll load in the next scene until that scene transition's over, and then only render the current scene. So it's a lot more efficient for the rendering, and I just like it. I like that method better than trying to render all 100 at once. It just seems wasteful to me. This is 3.1. Well, we need a new map. This will be 3.1. Bottom left. That looks right. We'll export as a 3.1. And then two. Especially this method, if we can get the collision detection as well working, that would be really nice. I don't know how that works though. I don't know how objects work in this this program. This is 3.2. And 3.3. That's all 9 tiles that we're trying to do. Cool. So let's go ahead and import these guys. We should have, let's see, and we'll call this game map 1.1. This will be 1.1. We need 9 of these. There's 3, there's 6, there's 9. We need 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so we've got those 9 imported. Well, we need them here. 1, 2, 3. Cool. So we should have all those 9 exported, imported. Now we just need to kind of manually assign them into our tiled map objects in our map declarations here. So we can say game map 1.1 gets there, and we need 9 of these. So this is kind of tedious, but in the grand scheme of things, we would just have to draw it, and then this process is the same. So instead of having to write out like this and kind of imagining what the game looks like, which is what I've been doing, we'd be able to just draw what the game looks like and export it. So that's potentially really useful. We will make sure that we do all this correctly. Cool. There's all our game stuff. So now each map should be mapped to the corresponding map grid that we used to be doing manually here. So instead of saying map 1.1 is all of this tile stuff, we're saying map 1.1 is just the game map 1.1 we exported from tiled. And then that allows us to go here in our scene. It should be simple. It should be simple. Let's see. If we look at our scene, instead of rendering tile map 1.1, we would render what? Current map? What the fuck was that? Let's see. We've got a, where is it? Current map. Okay, so it's called map row, self map column. So let's see if we try that self map row, self map column for here. So we say, you know what? Render the tile map of the one your scene is currently at. So we'll say self.map row, and then self.map column. Okay. Okay. It should render the top left. Fuck. Tiled 2.1 Lua doesn't exist. Did we not export 2.1? We didn't put them in here. Yeah, we did. I just didn't export 2.1. Let's go export 2.1. 2.1 would be this one. I don't know how I missed 2.1, but there's 2.1. Okay, let's try that again. I'm panicking. Just quit. I don't know why. It just doesn't like it. What the fuck? I'm stuck. My computer's holding me hostage. Let's open a new tab. That's not what I wanted. Okay. So you are still fine? Bro. Okay, what I'm gonna do is open a new window. I'm gonna switch windows. I'm gonna close that window. That's jacked. Okay. Okay, I don't know what was going on there, but... Oh, shit. We killed our TMAX session. Okay. Cool. Let's try. Okay, we've got 1.1. Now let's see if we get the next one when we walk over. We are still getting 1.1, and there's geckos attacking us. So only 1.1's ever rendering. Let's make sure our scene has self.maprow map column, and we've got self.maprow self.map column. Okay, and the current map is the map row and map column. Oh shit. Okay, if we look at do we render anything based on current map? Let's see where we're using current map. Ooh, yeah. Okay. Okay, well this is for the transition. For the update, for the object collision detection. We took off the rendering for the current map and we're doing, okay. So let's print up what this current map is and make sure that number's changing, because it should be changing. If we look at here, I just want to say set our color to be equal to white. I believe we should have white like that. I hope. And then love.graphics.print. We'd want to print up the map row and concatenate that with the actual self.map row. And then hopefully the same for the column. Shoot, man, sorry about the lag. It's actually looking pretty stable on my end, so I don't know if that's just you. Oh, it's set color. Okay, yep, we need a better X and Y for sure. We'll do 0, 0, and then 0, 10. Let's see. Okay, map row 1, 1. This should be... Oh, see, look, this isn't changing. Okay, so yeah. We need to be updating our current map row based on where we're walking, so our map could be working. It's just only ever rendering the same current map. So where do we update current map? We're doing that wrong. Current map update. Current map will get the next map. Oh, geez, man, this is messed up. So we're cycling through all the entities, resetting original positions. Okay, that's not it. But we are, upon a finished shift, we're setting our current map equal to the next map. But what we aren't doing is updating our map row. That's just where we start. Okay, so if we go and look where we instantiate our player for the first time, if we give ourselves different starting points, we should see the appropriate screen, but let's see here. I believe in our play state, we set our spawn? No? There should be a... What just happened? How do we search for player spawn? Player spawn. Oh, thank God I left that quote. Okay, cool. So look, let's check out what 1, 2 looks like. That should be a tree in the center top. And it is. Cool. So our map is pulling the correct stuff. We're just not updating our current map. Well, that's wrong. Let's try 2. Let's try 2, 1. That should be trees in the center left. Yeah, left and center, and then 2, 2 should be right in the center. Sweet. And then 2, 3 should be trees on the right. This is looking right. I think I just exported. Yeah, that's all looking right. So this is potentially really big. This should be a tree in the bottom right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So what we're not doing is updating our current map position. Like, how are we used to be doing this with our map object. We used to be doing it correctly, so let's see where we used to be doing this next map render. If next map render. What is next map? Is that a map object? Yeah, next map gets current map. So let's take a look at our map render here. Okay. We're trying to look for the render for this. Here we go. This is a little jacked. Okay, so this is where it is getting a little confusing because we've got a scene and we've got a map and we've got a play state. It looks like we kind of go ahead and render all sand tiles. And then we render the actual tile sheet. What is this tile sheet that we're doing? I don't see where we are using. Oh, here it is. Map, self row. Okay. Okay. Oh my god. Yeah, this is jacked up. Okay. It'll be fine if we redeclare our map to be called the tiled map, and we put in all the new tiled map objects. But we still aren't updating our current position. So I don't see where, I believe it's in our scene. It would be doing that logic upon a scene transition. So let's just make sure that a begin shifting right here. See, it isn't assigning the next map. So how are we pulling the next map? Begin shifting, true. Next map here, this is what it is. Yeah, so current map gets row. Okay, so I think what we need here is as we shift a map in any direction, like let's say let's just try right transition first. And what we're gonna do is say, hey, if we begin shifting to the right, it'd be under a finish shifting, not a start shifting. So upon a finish shifting, oh, this is jacked up. Current map gets self dot next map. Next map gets nil. So what we're trying to do is set our map row and our map column to be equal to what our next map column would be. Current map gets the next map. Okay, so yeah. Okay, I guess the question is, let's try it with a right transition here on a begin shifting. If we're shifting right when we do that, what if we just say, hey, our current map is now equal to what our current map used to be, and this is X. So we would say, or our row would remain the same and our column would change by a +1. So we would say, hey, our column now gets what our column used to be plus that 1. So now our current map column should update when we walk off screen. So right now we're in 2-2, but it should be 2-3 when we walk off, and that's not working. Okay, so how are we rendering the 2-3, the 2-2 on the map? How are we doing that? Gotta be in our play state, right? Where, right there. No, that's just our entities. We're looking for where, oh, right here. Scene view, current map row. Okay, that's jacked up. Okay, so scene view is the global. So if we assign our current map to be our scene view's current map row, at the finish of every transition, that should fix our problem. It won't get us transitioning correctly, but it'll, upon an end transition, it should fix that. So let's see if that's the case. We go to our scene. And instead of doing this, what we're gonna do is, after a finish shifting, we're gonna say, hey, why don't we go ahead and set our current map dot row to be equal to our scene view dot current map dot row. Well, I don't know about that. That seems redundant. Let's see. So we're looking for this map column to increase to 3. And it isn't. Because it's only ever rendering that tree in the center. We're trying to get the other trees to render. And it doesn't transition out. And if we look at what we're rendering there, it should be a self.map row, self.map column. So what if we say, what if we do pump in the scene view? Dot current map. Is it dot row? Let's see, where were we? Was it the play state down here? Scene view current map dot row, yeah. Dot row. Okay, let's try that. Because right now current map is kind of jacked up. Or at least the dot row and dot columns are jacked up. Because the dot current map should be a map instantiation with a row. Okay. Okay, so I think we might just be misusing our map row, or our... Let's see. We're just looking for this number to change, right? So 2221, okay, cool. So now hopefully we would be rendering the appropriate one instead of rendering only ever the same one. So let's go ahead and make this not the dot map row, but the scene view map row. Scene view dot current map row. Okay, this should get us the different trees in the right spot, but the transitioning will still be messed up. Okay, sweet. So we're in the middle. If we go left, we should have trees on the left. Trees on the left. If this should be trees in the top left, this should be top center. Cool. This is working. We fucked that one up, so that's actually working still. But this should be a bottom right tree. Yes. Bottom middle. Yes. And then bottom left. Sweet. So now all we have to do is get that transition working, both transition off and transition on working. and then we can replace our whole map system with exporting and drawing them. And that allows us to have transparent tiles. So as long as we can get the transition working, and as long as we can hopefully get the animatables are a whole nother story too. The animatables are tough. We're manually doing that too at the moment. I'm not too worried about that. It's kind of, I don't know. I don't know the proper way to do with what I'm trying to do. So let's just see if we can get the transition working. Like our next map just needs to be assigned to the correct thing. If we look at when we begin a transition here, we begin a transition, we set our okay, here. We assign our next map. Okay, so when we render our next map, yeah, okay. So all we should have to do to fix the shifting is go into our map logic, and instead of rendering the map, we render the tiled map. So instead of doing, I mean, I guess that's fine. Tile size of the quads. That's a little confusing to me. Insert animations, set the color, render to entities. See where? I don't see where we're doing the map. This tile sheet has got to reference the map somewhere. Our original map. Quads. Let's look at this quads table. Really? Let's look at this tile sheet. This tile sheet is global, which doesn't help us find it. But let's see if we can grep for this tile sheet. See where we pull it. Yeah, we pull it from the master sheet. Okay. All right. So I think what we can do... Oh, shit. This is jacked. I have to find where we're rendering the next map. Like, if we turn, I guess my question is, if we turn this off, if we turn off these draws, does that turn off rendering for the transitions or not? Let's see. It does not. Or it does. Okay, it does turn off the rendering. Okay. So this is, you know, this is the exported tile sheet that we were working with, so that's cool. But we are no longer getting the correct transitions. Now, we used to be saying, hey, go through the whole master quad, and we're gonna set, how are we doing this? Self tiles at YX is getting assigned into a local tile, which has, okay, oh god. I don't think this will be too hard to rewrite, because right now we're indexing, like, I don't know where we're actually telling what this quads actually is. It's global somewhere, which we should not have it like that. Yeah, just like that. Quads is just a global variable for all of our quads for our tile sheet, which is our whole master sheet. Okay. Yeah. So the difference here is that we don't want to render the next map based on the index of the tile ID of our... How are we even doing that? Wow. Yeah. This isn't right. But... Ooh, I think just like how we have a current map row and column, or a scene view dot current map dot row, we would want a scene view dot next map dot row. Let's see if we might have that in our scene. Let's see. We have a current map, and we have a next map that is nil, but our maps are an actual map instantiation. See, okay, and it gets tough too, because if we instantiate a scene change, we want not only the next map's sprites, but we want all the entities that are living over there too in the right spot. So it does have to be a map object we're scrolling on. But the difference is we render the entities. Are we currently rendering the entities on this page? It's 1, 2. So up here, the entities are here, but they're not rendering. So I think, how is that happening? We should be rendering. We should be rendering our entities. Let's see, if we turn this tiled map off and we instead go back to our current map render, we get our entities back. Okay, so our entities are existing in our current map. Yeah, entities exist in the map. So they should be up there. Oh, well, yeah, we turned off the map rendering. Okay, so the interesting thing is the old way we had it was actually, like, what's cool is even though we're not rendering the map, if you look at the entities, they're on screen where they should be for the transition, which is cool. So we just need to figure out how to bring that over to the new map system. But we were able to figure it out with this harder version, so I think we'll be able to pull it off. I think we might have to do something similar, like entities are totally separate than maps. So if we look at when we declare them, I think they're in the map declarations, which doesn't make a ton of sense, but let's see, I think we have entities down here, yeah. See how we say there's 4 entities, we give it a specific map to be placed in. Okay, so the entities live in the map entities table. Okay. But what's a little confusing too is this map object, or this map table, is not a class of map. It is just the global map 2D array that I'm using to store the entities. So that's, I think, a little confusing. Let's take a look at our map class, see what a map includes. So a map has a particle system, it has a spellcast entity particle system, it has a table of tiles, has a row, a column, adjacent X offset for the transition rendering. Okay. See, this is the ghetto collidable map objects I was doing. I was asking the tile ID what its value was, and if it was in the certain range of where I was drawing my collidable map objects, then that is what got to be a collidable object. So that was a kind of good way to do it for what we were trying, but we want something that scales and that allows us to draw maps easier if we're going to be drawing over 100 maps for the game. So I think we're on the right track. I'm going to leave us some notes here about what we're gonna do. So we redesign hitbox for players to entity collision. I feel like we already did that. We have to do stenciling, yeah. Okay, there's a shitload of stuff to do. Okay, well, we do have hearts. So that's good. I think I'll add that we want to do so we want tiled maps, transitions working. And then figure out collidable objects with tiled. Okay. So yeah, those two are the big next steps. I think once we get the tiled map system set up, we'll have a lot easier time building out potential levels. Because yeah, it'll be a lot easier because it's so hard to wrap your head around what the level looks like when I declare it like this. This is how I was doing it, right? I was just drawing with enums what it was. Yeah, now using tiled, we're able to actually draw it out. We'll be able to have a whole map object for a global view of how big the game is and what things connect to where, and then we just export each one, import them into our game, and that'll be a lot easier for development. So as long as we can get transitions working and transitions are the big one, and entities being rendered through the transitions, as long as we can still do that, we'll be in good shape. I think we can do it. It's just the X offset for the entities, so I think we can do it. And then we'll be in good shape moving forward. But hey, thanks everyone for watching my first stream back. It's been a while. I appreciate everyone who's here. We'll go ahead and raid out to Kuju because he's programming a game in Jai, which is the program language I want to do once it comes out of beta. So thanks, Magnetonics. I appreciate you hanging out. I hope you have a good night. I'll catch you later. I'll be streaming more again now that I'm done with school. But thanks for watching, everyone. I appreciate it.